to that strange Viking festival, Helly Aa. For years now, as long as anyone can remember, up in the Shetland Islands, the end of winter has always been celebrated by fire. The Shetlanders are descended from the Norsemen, and that's probably why the most important part of the Helly Aa is the burning of a Viking galley. No one on the island is allowed to see the ship before the great day, so I was very pleased 3 days before the festival to be invited to the galley shed to see how the work was coming along. Hello, Magnus. Hello, Jack. Jim. Hello. You've made a super job of this galley, haven't you? Isn't it great? Do you feel proud of it?
Yes, very proud.
Yes.
Jack Macmillan, Magnus Simpson and Harry Budge are just 3 of over 20 men who've been working for over 3 months building the galley. It was built in solid wood to the traditional Viking design, with a magnificent figurehead on the bow. When the Vikings invaded hundreds of years ago, it must have been terrifying seeing something like this rearing up on the beaches of Shetland. How do you get this from here to where it goes? Through the procession, through the streets? What does it sort of travel?
Manhandle.
Is it?
It's on a shuttle.
Oh, it's on used wheels. Do you mind if I have a look inside?
No, don't.
Okay. All right. I know it's not going to fall to bits. There was an amazing amount of detail in the boat. It seemed incredible that it had been built just to be burnt to ashes, but it had. That solid-looking head wasn't wood, but cotton stuffed with straw. So was the tail at the stern. They'd burn easily. Well, you've still got a bit more to do between now and Tuesday, haven't you? I'm looking forward to seeing it, but I'll tell you what, I'll leave you and let you get on with it in peace, all right? Thanks very much, fellas. I'll see you. Bye-bye. It was very nice of them to let the Blue Peter camera have a sneak preview of the galley. Everyone else on Shetland would have to wait until the big day. When Helly Aa came, the weather was dreadful, but no one was deterred. The harbour at Lerwick was full of ships, all in for the festival. This was a Russian supply vessel. The Russians come almost every year. A Norwegian boat was in too. They'd been calling in ever since their ancestors came in the very first longship. The celebrations begin on the quayside, where the Shetlanders get their first sight of this year's ship. It got a terrific reception. Magnus, Jack and the lads had done a splendid job finishing her off. Now she had shields all down her side and a mast with sails furled. She was being escorted down to the quay by a squad of Vikings. The most important man in the Helly Aa festivities is called the Geyser Jarl, and this was his squad of men. They're all called geysers because they disguise themselves in costumes. Every suit is handmade and brand new every year. Their waistcoats were leather, their shields shiny metal, and their helmets decorated with wings made from ravens' feathers. Some of the Viking warriors were very young indeed and were joining the squad for the first time. As they go through school, the boys learn about Helly Aa. They build their own boat too. Not as big as this one, but just as well made. And if it wasn't for this early training, the Helly Aa festival would probably die out. I'd got myself a good pitch. All the Vikings lined up round the ship to have photos taken by the press. The pictures get sent all over the world. Nowhere else is there anything like Helly Aa. With the photographs taken, everyone in town had to wait for darkness and the start of the night's celebrations. That very light signaled the lighting up of the torches. From pitch blackness, the sky suddenly turned bright red and orange. Right down line upon line of men, hundreds of torches were lit. The Helly Aa procession could set off. Played the Helly Aa song as the Geyser Jarl's Viking squad led the parade into the street. With the light from their flames reflected in their shields and helmets, they could have been real Vikings on their way to ransack another town. To add to their ferocious look, most of the men had grown long beards, specially for the occasion. the first squad dress up as Vikings. 52 squads were taking part, and each one had chosen a different sort of disguise. Some were dressed as Shetland sheep. The next squad had disguised themselves as policemen. I even spotted what looked like a troop of garden gnomes. Every geyser was wearing a mask, and you wouldn't recognize your own relations dressed up like this. But perhaps that's one of the secrets of Helly Aa's success. Behind the masks, everyone was enjoying themselves, and for this one night of the year, they feel quite different. Slowly, the procession wound itself round the town. It was an awe-inspiring sight, nearly 800 torches stretching as far as the eye could see. Some of the marchers began singing the Helly Aa song. It was specially written for the festival over 50 years ago. Now the climax of the ceremony was near, as all the torchbearers circled round and round the galley. This was the moment everyone in Lerwick had been waiting for a whole year. Torches being hurled through the air was a staggering sight. It was a dangerous moment too, but no one went wild and all the torches landed smack in the target area. Fire has been part of the festival for around 400 years, but it's only in the last 100 that a boat has been burned on Helly Aa night. No one is sure why. It could be because this is what a Viking funeral was like, and after Helly Aa, winter is dead and everyone is looking forward to the spring. I managed to find Magnus and Jack among the 800 geysers and wondered what they were thinking at this moment.
Well, Magnus, Jack, this is it. This is the end of all that hard work, isn't it?
Almost.
That's great though.
It's been worth it.
Oh, it's been worth it, definitely.
And you had to get all the people down the streets and around the galley.
Yeah.
So nobody got hurt, nobody gets burnt, do they?
Nobody gets burned, no.
Very good.
As much as possible, nobody gets burned.
Yeah. It's lovely and warm here, isn't
Oh, it's lovely now.
I think I'll stand here for a quarter of an hour.
With the galley fast disappearing under sheets of flame, all the squad stood round the fire to sing the Norseman's Home, which marked the end of Helly Aa 1973.
Sad day when customs like that die out.